Hey guys, welcome to another Houdini tutorial. It's been a while, almost 8, maybe 9 years, because I posted these ones on Vimeo before. But yeah, we're gonna create some hexagonal particles based on some R&D I did a couple years ago. So the steps we're gonna do in this tutorial is, first we're gonna create an hexagonal grid with some attribute transfer. From there we will create some simple particle simulation, which will then drive some Pyro simulation from these particles, and then finally this Pyro sim will drive a grain simulation. That's basically the steps on the tutorial, and these are some renders of the result with some basic shading. Didn't spend too much. This is another one. I think on this one I inverted the velocity, and here was mixing some point deform along with the particle system. So yeah, let's dive into Houdini. So here's a new Houdini scene. I'm gonna set my layout, my preferred layout, by clicking here with the mouse wheel, and I'm gonna create a geonode and a circle. We will set this circle to CX plane with 6 subdivisions and open arc, and I'm gonna rotate by 30 degrees. And now I'm gonna create a pointer angle to create normals pointing out. So at N equals at P. If we check here, we have these normals that we are now gonna use as velocity. So at P equals at N, and we can check. Probably will be hard to see, but they are there. If we multiply by 10, you can see them. So next step, we are gonna create the grid. So we are going to duplicate. There are different ways to do this, but this is the lazy one. So I'm gonna create a duplicate, and I'm gonna translate 1.74 with 20 copies, and another duplicate with 2 copies, and I'm gonna set here 0.87 and minus 1 point. So we'll have this, and then we're gonna create another duplicate with 3.02 and 7 copies. So we have this. They almost connect, and then I'm gonna use a match size to put this match axis, sorry, no, match size, it was correct. So we have this on the center on the scene of the scene. Now we're gonna create a new camera. Now we are going to rotate minus 90. Let's see. So we have this, and let's zoom in a bit. So now we have the grid. Let's press L to organize, and let's put hexa grid in here. So now we need to create the color transition that will be used as velocity after. So I'm gonna use a blast and select 130, and I'm gonna put a color node, set this to red, and I'm gonna copy this one and set this to blue. Now I'm gonna use a transform node, this one, in the isolated one, and we will set in frame 70. We will put this size at 30, center to origin, click to create a keyframe, and here we will set this to 0. So we will have this. And now I'm going to use a attribute transfer. We will transfer the color from this one to this one, and in the so we will have this, and we have to tweak the condition. We will set 0 here, frame 45, we will set 4.5, and the blend, so we will have this. And now we will use an attribute promote to promote the color from point to primitive, and we will use a delete by expression at CD less than 0.5, and here I'm gonna use a resample node, and we'll set this to 0.1. I think it's okay. So now we have more points for the normals and volume rasterize attributes, and we will rasterize the V attribute 0.1 and 0.1. Here I forgot to set attribute create. Sorry. We'll create a V attribute, which is a vector, and here we will also transfer the velocity. So now here we should have this velocity field. We can create a scatter and a volume trail to see what is this. So points to trail, velocities, and we will have this. So let's put a null here and put out vel. So in this scatter we will put 3000. We will create a new pop network and here we will set these to all points and pop out back by volumes. We'll select the velocity field we just created, out bell. We will do this by force with a scale of 2. And here in the bird we will put at f less than 30. And we will create a pop color. Set this to ramp by h. And let's do something like this. Maybe set the scatter here to 30,000. So here I change a few things. On this point wrangle, I multiply the velocity for 2, and then I change this transform that before we put center to origin, I just set this to as it was originally. So now we will have this, and if we go to the popnet, we will see these particles. And now we're going to create the wrangle, and we are going to say at p y plus equals at cd x by 0.4, and we will get a bit of, instead of flat, a bit of depth on this. And now we are going to use this on a Pyro sim. So let's create a time shift. I'm going to set this as $FF-8, and a ripple node. I think this is from Axis Tools, but you can get like the normal ripple to create the same stuff. I'm gonna use these parameters: 0.4, 0.61, 3.58, and on the height I'm doing a animation from 0, and in frame 15 1.2, and wave decay 0.14, speed 2, ripples 3. So we will have this going on. And now I'm going to create a billowy smoke. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to use this as a source. I'm going to put here keep input. Now we are going to use a attribute transfer to transfer the velocity from this popnet. Velocity, and I'm going to bypass this, and here we are going to set 0.04, 0.4, no, 0.04, 0.05 maybe. And on the Pyro we are going to set the voxel size to 0.05, and I'm gonna put the velocity to copy, and dissipation is okay, no buoyancy, no wind, And let's see. And we will have this Pyro sim, which we will use on grains to affect. So I'm gonna take this and create a bound with 0.3 and 0.7 to create this, and I'm gonna create a grain source. We can leave this at points, not uniform radius. Oh no, let's create vellum grains. We can copy this particle separation, and now I'm gonna put a time shift here, frame 1, and the pop network. Let's put this a null, set it to black, out Pyro. I'm gonna copy this and came here. Let's put this to all points. $F equals 1, and I'm gonna use a pop at back by volumes again, this time set to velocity. I'm gonna copy the Pyro, and let's use a pop color with a ramp from speed. So now we will have something like this. I'm gonna create a cache. So I'm going to set this to 0.5, and here we will use an attribute delete. We're going to set color, velocity, age, maybe ID, and p-scale. Delete non-selected. So let's put file cache, and let's put here hexa tutorial cache, and let's make 75 frames. So now I have this cache, and I'm gonna use a attribute that's just color. This comes with the side effect labs, and I'm gonna set this to Y, compute range, and now we'll have this simulation. So you can use a retime node here if you want. You can slow down. I'm gonna do like a super quick shading of this. So let's go back, set this to particles. Let's put here particles, render as particles, 0.2 maybe. And I'm gonna create a redshift light zone. I'm gonna select an HDR in here. I'm gonna take the saturation and the background, and I'm gonna go to material, redshift material builder, redshift color user data, and we will use a material blender, redshift ramp, and here let's see super quickly, let's create this as gold, this as silver. So now you should have something like this. I set the scale to 0.65, and here I set this ramp that you can modify. Use a basic lead and gold. You can set this to aluminum or whatever works, or set your own materials. Want to do something quick, and that's basically for this one. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you have any other ideas for tutorials. You can check on my Instagram. I have different making ofs. These were some procedural robots that I did last year. That was another idea for the tutorials. Or you can see some particles R&D, whatever you feel you would like for the next one. And yeah, that's it for